it's just an amazing world we live in now.
No question.
So this is from chapter 6, work. So under No Friday Foolishness, it says, when you have idle time, spend it doing things you enjoy instead of focusing on what you dislike about others. And then under Controversial Counselor, it says, I put a lot of emphasis on time throughout this book, but I am a believer that you should spend free time enjoying life and staying away from negative situations. If you have to spend idle time speaking bad on others, you need to find some shit to do. When are the times you find yourself getting caught up in negativity? So David, this is interesting. So are you saying that people, that their pastime is just focusing and stewing on what they dislike about other people?
Well, I look at it like this, and when I break that down, there's certain people that their whole personal development is social media. So even people, our age, and I'm a little older than you, that you'll see them and they're going through seeing, certain things on social media. Then if you have contact with them, it's like, oh, did you see this? Or did you see that? Oh, this is what I heard. And I'm like, listen, you can't consume all my time talking about this negativity. Like, where do you find the time? Now, I'll stroll through stuff and it's easy to look through it, but I also am one who take on different projects and I try to get things done. Some people, they don't have that, that fortitude or goals to look forward, to look ahead, to actually try to accomplish. So they caught up in negativity or things that happen on social media, or even some of those different shows that come on TV. I'm not about to have a long-winded conversation on that type of stuff. So I know there's people that social media is their professional development.
Right. What's funny is social media, reality TV, all that stuff. I find that when I start consuming certain things, and when certain things kind of just get into my mind and in my periphery, it does affect my mood. When I see, like certain reality TV shows, and when I see just people quarreling on Facebook, or in some instances Twitter. I'm more used to seeing it on Twitter because it just lends itself more to that. But when I see people, just coming for each other, it really just drains your energy, even if you're just watching it.
Mm-hmm. It does.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to jump to chapter 7. This is the final passage that I bookmarked, and we kind of touched on this already, but it says, No Friday Foolishness, a quick way to show me where I stand with you is to ignore my numerous attempts to reach out. You blew it. And then under Controversial Counselor, it says, personal or professionally, I will make attempts to reach out to someone. But once I am ignored after several attempts, I think that you do not want to be bothered. And if I am wasting my time, so I will respect your decision and carry on. What are some cues that cause you to stop reaching out to others?
So go ahead. You got a question?
You know what? I think in general, whether it's an acquaintance or a friend or someone at work, I think this one falls under social and emotional intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, it's important to understand that sometimes we say things without saying things. So if you reach out to someone to try to contact them and they're not receptive, or they're not returning your calls or your emails or your texts or whatever, people are saying something. People are saying, you know what? I don't want to talk to this person, at least right now. And I've been on both sides of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just important to, when you find yourself in that situation, when you're the person reaching out, it's important to acknowledge that that buffer that the other person is putting up, and just respect that for however long that lasts. And that's very, very important. And I'm sure you can attest to that in the dating space. You know, if you're reaching out to someone, you like someone, and they're not reciprocating what you're doing, you need to learn to pump your brakes and just fall back.
Yeah, no question. And I kind of look at it as math. I think I learned this concept in one of my counseling classes: greater than, less than, equal. You know, if you reach out to someone or you want to reciprocate, you want to give people greater than what they give you, and then sometimes it's equal, and then less than. So what's interesting about that is, like on social media, I mean, if you send somebody a direct message, you can see when it says seen that they read it. So and that's why I miss my middle school students, because they kind of school me on their frame of mind, and they come in and it's like, oh, I'm done with this person, Mr. Glover, because they left me on scene. I'm like, what do you mean left you on scene? And then they're like, well, you could see where they read my message and they saw it, but they never responded back. And I thought about it, and I said, but their light was still lit up and they were on social media. So I kind of put it into a dark way, like, oh, that is pretty jacked up that I reached out to you, whether I was trying to let you know about my book, or are you interested? You seen it, and you're a friend of mine. I would think I would at least deserve, well, not at this time, David, or, I'll get back to you, but just to leave you on scene, you think about, that's kind of jacked up. And even with text messaging, that you could see the way you set up your filters or setting when somebody read the message or whatever the case is. So I'm not saying I always get back, but I try to take pride in follow up, just to reach back out. But to just totally ignore someone, I just think is rude. And then when you speak on the dating game, obviously, if you reach out and you're having dialogue, and then that person never gets back to you, or they never initiate a conversation, that's when you say, falling back, whatever. This can't be no one-sided thing, because I hate to say it, a lot of women want to be wooed and want to be chased. I'm going to use the philosophy from Poetic Justice with the movie, because I didn't see that about 3 or 4 times since being quarantined. What Isha says, I'm not in the line of keeping people who don't want to be kept. Right. So you don't want to be kept, then you're dismissed. That's my philosophy.
Yeah.
As far as that.
And you also have to understand that even sometimes when you do get a response, you have to understand when it's a response that's not encouraging you to continue talking to the person, or when it's actually encouraging you, yeah, let's talk some more. Like when you get a text, you text someone, you say, hey, how you doing? I was just thinking about you. And they say, I'm fine. Thanks for asking. Okay. When there's no inquiry back about how you're doing, what's going on with you, what's good, then you have to be able to recognize, okay, she doesn't want this to go further at this time. And it's just another instance of saying things without saying them blatantly. So.
Yeah. And even professionally, it's people I've reached out to have an interview with, and they don't have no big audience or big following, but it might be someone local or in Buffalo, and you're going back and forth, and then you're trying to set something up. Then you make the last response, okay, when's your availability? And then all of a sudden they just disappear off the face of the earth, and not having enough sense, or say professionally, I probably owe this person an explanation, or maybe I'm not interested at this time, or my schedule's booked up to this date. But when you just ignore, I just think that's unprofessional.
And yeah, I think that's an important point. So David, No Friday Foolishness, where can people get it?
People can get it well, obviously it's on Amazon. They can order it through there, but I like for people to get the signed copy from me. So I always keep some inventory. You can reach out to me on social media under David Lorenzo Glover. I'm also on LinkedIn. I'm under David Glover. If you put in the controversial counselor, I'll come up. And then also on Instagram, David Glover 7712, and you'll see me there as well.
Okay. All right. Well, David, unless do you have any parting shots for the folks quarantining?
Hey man, just follow instructions, and I guess it's mandatory now to come out. The inter-stores you're supposed to have on the mask. Just follow those rules so we can get things back into order one day. I doubt if they ever go back to being the same way. I can honestly say people will probably be wearing masks and matching them up with their outfits. They're already doing that now. And that might be a way that people might constantly say, all right, I'm gonna always wear a mask or whatever, especially like in the school setting or something. I can see that happening because you got clusters of people. But just follow directions and stop being a rebel about stuff. Prior to me connecting with you, Anwar, on here, I just seen someone from Niagara Falls. She went out and bought a pack of panties, some thongs, and she had that over her head as a mask. And was saying, and she was being funny about it, but I'm like, this is not a game when people are dying. I'm sorry, it's not a game. And she was like, well, I got my masks. They were cheap. I got like 5 pair for, I think I ended up clicking off of it, but I just started laughing like she's such a clown. But just do what you need to do so we can try to get back to normal and stop going against the grain, which I think a lot of people are doing. And that's why it's taking longer than most of us want at this point in time.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the new normal is once this thing blows over, and to what degree it blows over. Well, David, thank you for coming on. It was a while since we did the last one. This connection was a lot better.
Yeah.
And one of my relatives told me that your YouTube content is all one way. So having guests come on and collaborations is very, very important for both of us.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned earlier, we have some business over on in your space tomorrow night.
Yeah, they'll be ready.
And I'm glad. I think you said Herb's going to be there as well.
Yeah, sent him the link, so hopefully he'll join in, and the young lady, hopefully she'll join in, and people, I'll have maybe the call-in feature on too for people to call in with questions.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Well, with that, we will conclude, and I'm going to leave my previous collaborations with David in the description box below in case anyone wants to watch those. Please like this video, please share it, please subscribe to my channel, and check out David's book as well. And always remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Take care, and I will talk to you the next time.
All right, thanks, buddy. Have a good one and be safe.
All right, you too.
All right, thank you.
All right, let me stop the record here.